Good morning. I'm back with another video from my spasmodic voice. If you have spasmodic dysphonia, one of the treatments you may have considered is botox botulism toxin injections. These injections, back in the day when I would get them, were quite costly and involved a needle being injected into your vocal cords. The purpose was to keep your vocal cords from knocking into each other and cutting off your speech. The first time I had this done, I was thrilled. After a few very uncomfortable days of not being able to produce any sound, I was back to having my old voice, my old familiar voice that I'd had my whole life until age 19. However, just a few weeks later, my voice started reverting back to my SD voice, and it was very sad because that meant another wait for another appointment, another expensive outlay of money, another time period of not being able to speak at all, and then another up and another disappointing down. If you don't have SD, just think about what this would be like for you if you've ever had a really bad case, let's say, of laryngitis, maybe, and you haven't been able to speak. Just imagine that you're able to speak for maybe 2 weeks, and then you can't speak. And then you can speak for 8 weeks, and then you can't speak. It's very frustrating, especially if you're in a job like I was, where you are a teacher, or if you're in a job that requires you to be in meetings where you are vocal and perhaps even directing the content. Anyway, I would intermittently have the Botox injections, and I would think, okay, this time I'm going to keep up with it, but every time they were just always an expensive letdown and disappointment. Sometimes my insurance would cover them. Sometimes I would have a $500 copay. And sometimes I would wind up paying more, maybe $800, maybe $1,000. Most of the doctors I went to were very skilled. However, I did go to a doctor in Colorado who was not very skilled. I went to him twice. He missed my vocal cords 2 times, which meant I had to continue to reschedule appointments with him until he was able to administer the treatment correctly. Now, there are other treatments that you can look into. However, at some point in time, I just decided I was done going down the treatment route and decided that I was just going to go with what I have. I've had people, even doctors, otolaryngologists, for those of you who are familiar with these doctors, who've told me that my SD is not as bad as many. And I have to agree, I do think it has gotten better over the years. But if you listen, you can still hear the breaks, the little pauses, the things that have people with normal voices asking me, "Are you okay? Are you about to start crying? Are you really anxious? Are you about to have a panic attack?" Or even just say, "What?" Like they can't understand me because I sound different than they do. Anyway, that's my take on Botox. If you have specific questions, I would love to know. Please leave them in the comments. And after I have some questions, I will make a new video specifically answering those questions. Today you'll see my latest self-portrait. This is me dressed up to go to a wedding. My version of myself anyway, as I'm learning to work and procreate. Thank you for listening. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.